Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Becoming Awesome. I'm Ray Thomas. I'm your co-host, and that's not Jenna. So I have my esteemed colleague Tracy LaFontaine that's co-hosting as a guest today. Jenna's actually doing another incredible training internally. So I'm so happy to bring Tracy on board. Tracy, why don't you quickly introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Ray. So, as Ray said, my name is Tracy. I'm a senior client lead recruiter within the AWS public sector team, and I've been with AWS just shy of 4 years, and I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. Awesome. So what do we have planned for today's show?
So, we have a couple of special guests Darius Robinson, who is a senior sourcing recruiter and a member of Ben Tech, and Marcus Smith, principal customer solutions manager within our federal civilian team. And I've had the pleasure of working with Marcus, so we're really excited to have you both on here today. So we'll go ahead and start with introductions. Marcus and Darius, do you want to jump on?
Yeah, so let me bring on Marcus and then Darius. You can turn on your video camera and let's add you onto the stream. There you are. So let me do this view. This way we can have our special guests introduce themselves. So let's go with you first. All right.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. My name is Marcus Smith. As Tracy mentioned, I'm a principal customer solutions manager. I work in the federal civilian team. I've been with AWS since April of 2019, so a little bit over 4 years now, with federal civilian the entire time. And I just love, working hands-on with our customers, helping them accelerate, their workloads to the cloud. So it's been a long journey, with some of our customers, and we've been, really working with them over the last few years to make sure that they're doing really some really innovative stuff within AWS.
Awesome. And next we have
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. My name is Darius Robinson, Day One Darius on LinkedIn. I'm a senior sourcing specialist in AWS utility computing. I've been at Amazon just over 4 years, but every day is day one. I've focused on primarily software engineering style community recruiting. I've also recruited software development managers, built a lot of technical recruiting strategies, also more focused on diversity efforts. I'm also the vice president of the ERG group called BenTech, which is focused on the recruitment, retention, and advancement of Black technologists. So I'm happy to be here and talk more about the things we do and how Juneteenth has changed the world. Thanks for having me.
awesome. And if you're in the chat and if you're a part of the Ben community, hit us up. Let us know where you're from, and if there's a specific part of the Ben community that you're from, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. So,
Awesome. So, to segue into Juneteenth, being that we just celebrated the holiday last week, I wanted to start with some facts about the holiday. So, what is Juneteenth? Juneteenth commemorates the day in 1865 when Union General Gordon Granger, alongside Union troops, announced that enslaved people in Texas were free. It's actually our newest federal holiday. President Joe Biden signed a bill in 2021 making Juneteenth a national holiday. And Juneteenth is a combination of the words June and 19th. So, Darius, I'll start with you and then Marcus. What would you say Juneteenth means to you, and what did you do to celebrate?
What does Juneteenth mean to me? I think what it means to me is it's an opportunity for us to celebrate the struggles that our people have gone through to be free. It was an opportunity for me to get together with my friends and folks that I've never met before and celebrate this special day. I actually went to a local park and we just had like a picnic, listened to music, and I was actually able to connect with some new people. So it was a great time.
Awesome.
nice.
And
Yeah, I'll
Marcus,
jump.
how about you?
So I grew up in rural South Carolina, where Juneteenth wasn't really celebrated or observed. So, come to know the holiday and really learn more about it in adulthood, which is great because it's an opportunity for us to, me and my children and really kind of learn together in terms of how to properly celebrate Juneteenth. So we've used it mostly as a day of reflection and really thinking about all of the long strides that our ancestors have gone through through to be, where we are today. This year, as part of BIN DMV, Black Employee Network, DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia chapter, we sponsored a mentorship mixer at a local establishment, Northern Liberty, in Washington, D.C., where we had, BIN members come in and younger Amazonians with paired up with more mature, more tenured Amazonians, and we had the chance to kind of sit down and just learn about each other's journeys and talk and really build relationships that will kind of help form those bonds where we have these new mentees who are looking for kind of structure and guidance as they start their Amazon career. So participating in that as a mentor, and it was a great event that was really, one of the things that we do from a professional development standpoint, that we thought was, pretty, powerful as it applies to, celebrating the Juneteenth holiday.
Mhm. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that, especially when it comes to the education piece. I found myself really, now that my kids are old enough, really educating them on the significance of the holiday. And for me, what resonates with me is definitely the freedom and joy aspect of Juneteenth, where I'm encouraging my kids to navigate their freedom in their worlds, but also to radiate their joy and really know that their joy is important in all the spaces that they're in. So I am making a commitment to definitely attend events next year. That's something that I want to strive to do. So just piggybacking off of some of the themes around Juneteenth, when I think about the holiday, I think about joy, freedom, resilience, as well as prosperity. And Marcus, we'll start with you. How would you describe any of these themes in either your personal life and or your career?
Sorry, speaking on mute, but yeah, one of the things that really stands out is the resiliency piece, right? My brother recently did the entire, like, ancestry DNA and things, and I told you earlier I was from a coastal, rural South Carolina, and then trying to find those roots, and how those roots kind of led us to where we are today. So that's one of the things that kind of stands out, is how resilient my ancestors and forefathers and foremothers had to be for me to be a principal at AWS, and that reflection of that journey is just that kind of we use Juneteenth as a time to kind of understand that and look back and reflect, and always also look forward. So that's how it kind of relates to our journey.
Awesome. And Darius, how about you? How would you relate any of those themes?
Yes, I guess when you start to think for me about like freedom and joy, kind of, I think about the things that my parents and my grandparents had to do and sacrifice for me to have the joy of working at a big tech company today, right? A lot of the trials and tribulations they suffered in those rooms by themselves was definitely a struggle, but now we're in a much different climate. I think, but also from a work standpoint, I think about freedom, and like that's one thing I've always enjoyed about working at Amazon or AWS is that here you have the freedom to build. Like, I've seen people build all types of things. I built some cool things along my journey, and I'm happy to talk more about that as we continue to go through the discussion. But I think this is a place where you can be free. You're free to think. You're free to, do what comes to mind. You're free to speak up for yourself. Like, you're actually encouraged to speak up for yourself. So I think that's one thing that comes to mind for me when we think about those three ideas.
Excellent. I want to find out, like, what has been your specific experience like, even when we started to, like, I only heard about Juneteenth literally a year and a half ago, a little year or 2 years ago, right? With what Joe Biden had actually passed, and then internally here we started to talk about it and build some kind of trainings or educations. What are your thoughts so far from that aspect internally, as far as, have we done enough? Is there anything more we can do as far as educating, or any positive ways to celebrate Juneteenth as non-people of color, right? So,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts there?
I think for me, there's always areas for improvement. I think it's important for as adults, as human beings, to do our own research. Once again, like I said, this is a place where you have the opportunity to build things. Where I was reading something not too long ago, but there was some people in Ben, yeah, Ben, or several years back, they built like some Alexa skills like during Black History Month. So like it's cool things like that we have an opportunity to do here. I still see like on our internal Gather page, which is a website for events, that people across the world are still celebrating Juneteenth. So it's good to know that our company is fully supportive of that continued celebration, and it's not just for one day.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I can add to that. It's been really encouraging just to see the passion for the education behind it. Me being a member of our Black Employee Network myself, it's nice to be within that community, but also it's nice to develop like allies and then advocacy for others who are very interested in really just learning about American history. So that's been really an encouraging part for me, I'd say, over the past couple of years.
That's excellent. Excellent. Now, top of the hour, Marcus, you said you're a principal here, at AWS, and the family gets to see that, etc. Right? Talk to us just from the work perspective. There's people that still don't understand the difference between a principal and a senior here at AWS. Can you just dive a little bit deeper into like what a principal CSM does here?
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Ray. So I started as a senior customer solutions manager back in 2019, and I was promoted into the principal role in Q1 of 2022. So a little over a year and a half in that role now. And the biggest difference, as with everything with Amazon, is scope of influence. Really, taking the things that you did well as a senior, thinking the things, the mechanisms that you built, all of the bar raising things that you've contributed to as a senior, and then you kind of expanding that scale and scope, to in my case across multiple accounts, multiple account teams, working to just basically grow that impact. So that's where I think the main benefit is, or main the difference between a else or a senior and a principal is really just kind of focusing on that scale and scope, and really enhancing that impact across multiple account teams, multiple verticals, and you're just spanning the scope of overall scope of influence.
Gotcha. And then how do you, like, when we're talking about developing people internally here and also making people feel more inclusive, what was your experience like here as far as feeling included, right? Is there any type of programs that we've done, any type of trainings that are done internally to help everyone be more educated and be more inclusive?
Yeah, I would really like to shout out, my management team, my leadership team here within the FedCiv org. My manager has been one of the most passionate people I've ever met when it comes to diversity and inclusion. She's, even spoke at our CSM all hands in terms of the model that she's kind of helped spearhead to kind of drive, us to a more inclusive environment. We have these diverse these inclusivity talks every month that she sponsors, where it's kind of just an open forum between the teams, where we're just really just whatever thoughts come to mind. She's kind of spearheaded that. So our leadership, I think a lot of it starts with leadership, right? People who are really committed to working and ensuring that the environment is diverse and inclusive, and that's the thing that she really does excels at. So those are the things that I think have helped us. If you look at our team, it's probably one of the most diverse across FedCiv, across public sector, and it really starts with that dedication from the top.
Yeah, no, and I just want to piggyback on that. My leadership has been very supportive when it comes to being inclusive. My director now, Sandeep, like he's been very supportive. I had a manager, her name was Lalitha Gannison. I remember when I first approached her about diving deeper into diversity hiring for Afrotech in particular, and how supportive she was over that time frame. Like from day one, like she was always there. I mean, we at that time we were having a lot of issues with making sure people who went through the interview process were able to find homes within AWS. And I just remember so many times that she really pushed the envelope to make sure that the talent that we identified, that any issues that we had, whether it's compensation or whatever the case may be, like we did everything that we could to make sure that we were able to bring talent to the company.
That's awesome. And Darius, you mentioned that you're a member of Ben Tech earlier in the meeting.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that and the work that you've done around that?
Oh, wow, I could go on for days. So BenTech is a internal ERG, Amazon Affinity Group, that fall under the umbrella of Ben. So Ben is the Black Employee Network. BenTech is focused on the recruitment, retention, and advancement of Black technologists. I got involved with BenTech actually as a caveat for Afrotech. I was working with another engineering manager, and we wanted to figure out if we could get more SDE candidates prepared for Afrotech interviews. And so we just had an idea, and we met one day and we said, hey, he said, if you go out and recruit the talent, I'll run these mock interviews, interview prep sessions. And so that little small program launched into what we now call BenTech Interview Prep. And since we've had 127 sessions, we have actually another session tomorrow, where we literally take candidates and help them prepare for Amazon interviews, candidates from underrepresented communities. And we've had 155 on sites, and we've delivered 75 builders and seats. So, and even within that program, like it started with that. We wanted to make sure that the individuals that we brought in, they had the right mentorship. So we launched a mentorship program. At Amazon, writing is something that's very important. So we launched a program to help our team members with becoming better writers. I could go on and on about it, but I think at the very top, it's an opportunity for Black technologists within Amazon to know that we have resources to make sure that they can feel included, and they have a community of people who look like themselves that can help them along their journey.
Awesome. So let's get to know you both a little bit more. I think I read about you, Marcus, that you can't wait for the fall, and tell me about that and why.
One of the things that I'm really passionate about, aside of technology and here working here at AWS, is my Clemson Tigers. I'm a proud graduate of Clemson University, and so, support that football program and pretty much all of the sports programs pretty passionately. So always looking forward to fall Saturdays, and I know we have a couple of family events and everything this year, so I might not get a chance to get to too many games, but I'm certainly circling that Florida State game as one of the ones that I look forward to the most this year.
Awesome. Excuse my ignorance, I don't even know where Clemson is as far as which state compared to where you live. Right? Can you actually go to games, or you used to go to games when you were actually?
Oh no, yeah, we still go to we pick up one or two big games a year. But yeah, I live in Northern Virginia, and Clemson is in I guess the upstate part of South Carolina. So it's it's about about a 10-hour drive, not 11-hour drive if I'm taking the whole family, or you can either fly into Greenville or fly into Atlanta and drive up. But looking forward to that. Friends, and I think it's really just an excuse for me to hang out with my friends from school and my frat brothers and everything. So, always looking forward to opportunity.
Awesome. And Darius, what about you? Golf, fishing, table tennis, Scrabble, and beer festivals. If you had to pick your number one out of that list, which one would it be?
So work-wise, it definitely will be table tennis. Like it's a way for me to decompress from being in meetings and just working. Outside of work, I'm not sure. Like I really like fishing, but I think I enjoy golfing more because like the opportunity to to catch something, which I might define as making a good putt or making a long shot. Um, it's actually a little easier to do in golf than it is in fishing, because in fishing you're not guaranteed to catch anything. So I think my luck is better on the golf course.
Yeah, it's funny being an avid fisherman as well. I literally came across like one of those like meme videos. It's not really a meme, but it's like kind of trying to educate you about like fishing. And there's like
Yes.
they say fishing is not just this. Fishing is actually a process where you make 100 different decisions, and you're like, did I cast too far? Did I cast too
Yes.
this? Is a lure too shiny on this day, or is it too dull on this day? Blah
Yep.
blah blah. You're trying to figure it all out and whatnot. So, but
No, I
again,
mean you make a good point. Like, so obviously I'm recruiting, but anytime I'm working with someone who understands fishing, like I'm always able to like explain recruiting in fishing terms. And
okay.
so it's always funny to when I'm like working with people, when you think about, being at different sides of the pond and like the size, like if you're in a lake or if you're in the ocean, like how deep is the water? What are you fishing for? Like casting in a net. So I really love that comparison because it really helps like bring the message home.
Yeah, it's funny. I do one thing like same thing with the fishing, right? I
Mhm.
use that analogy for a marketing perspective.
Mhm.
People that know me know that I have AWS sneakers. I have both a red and a white sneaker that have AWS across them, and I only like to wear black. And everyone that knows me, I just wear the same black T-shirt and the same black jeans. I have like 10 pairs of each, right? And I'm
Mhm.
always wearing black, but then my sneakers stand out. So when I go to conferences or anywhere else, everyone's like, are those AWS sneakers, etc. And it just starts a conversation.
Right.
And then when I talk to people, I said, yeah, this is the greatest $80 investment. Not only does it do the job of attracting people like bait does for
Right.
fishing, right? The bait,
Mhm.
right? But
Yep.
at the same time, they're the best sneakers I've ever owned for like my feet issues. Like they literally are the best sneakers. So I had to get in both colors. So
Mhm.
yeah, they're the same.
Awesome.
Um, Tracy, what about you? Like, what do you do outside of this to decompress? What's some fun stuff about you?
Well, I'd say for this year, I reignited my love for reading.
Hmm.
And one fun thing actually about our team is that we have a book club. So it's been really exciting to kind of get excited to talk about the chapters that we've read. I'm also really into fitness, and I challenged myself this year to get a little bit more into strength training. So I've been pushing myself with that as well to decompress, but it's also my therapy. It's something that I really enjoy doing.
Yeah, I see the Instagram reels of you deadlifting. I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. I'm just tired looking at it. I'm just tired of watching you.
It's hard, but it pushes me, it challenges me. I'm all about, not being too comfortable. So I feel like that's one of my mottos. I kind of push myself outside my comfort zone.
And that's kind of like what you expect here, right? I think when we
Yep.
bringing up the LPs, right? We talk about learn and be curious. Like let me bring you up. Marcus, right? So getting out of your comfort zone. We talk about learn and be curious, right? Like, is there something that you are learning right now, or something that you have learned during your time here that really took you to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, I like to work backwards when it thinks, what should I be learning on? I think we all have our personal passions and ambitions, but I like to think about like what are my customers, what are they, thinking about, what, how can we kind of, future proof some of the things that we're working on? And I think like right now the buzz everywhere is like generative AI and trying to figure out like what that means for society at large, right? So I've been trying to challenge myself and get a little bit, ahead of the curve. Usually I'm a late adopter when it comes to some of those technologies, but, I've been reading a lot more about that and trying to, really push the envelope in terms of, how much I can learn, how fast I can learn, and really be in a position to have those customer conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, like the thing that I've learned the most is Microsoft Excel. Like I have spent so much time failing at Excel, but I've learned so much. Um, Also with like generative AI, like really trying to figure out prompt engineering. Like I spent a lot of time doing that recently. Last night I literally spent like 5 hours last night. I literally created a free tier account trying to like use generative AI to like create a document, like using our products. Like, I don't know. Once again, that's just why it's cool to work at a place like AWS, because you can always learn something. Like, I spent 6 hours working on it, but I learned a lot. I just didn't get what I was looking for.
Yeah, it's so huge. Like I'm all in on generative AI. I am like an early adopter, and I actually do pay for ChatGPT. I use it to wordsmith some of my writing, So I I don't want to. Some people fear that it may dumb down individuals, right? That's if the individuals don't want to do any of the work and they just say, "Hey, write something for me that does X." Sure, whatever. But for me, it's like I want to write it. I want the readers to actually feel my thoughts, my passion within the context, right? But at the same time, I just know that the wordsmithing piece is where I personally need improvement, and that's where it comes in, helps me be with speed and efficiency. The other thing is for research. Hey, I'm supporting the nonprofit health organization. List the top 40 nonprofit health organizations in the United States. Instead of me trying to find an article, it'll just build a list for me, and I could run it through my Booleans and stuff like that. And I know there's internal trainings. I think that one of my colleagues is thinking about doing for how to use ChatGPT. And from the photographer in me, I'm now taking the work that I've done and using generative AI to reimagine it in a different way. So it's been fascinating in that part of the world for me. So I see a huge market, and for the content developers, I think that's where the big money's at too.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Tracy, we have just a couple of minutes left. Any last thoughts? Any last words you want to share with everyone?
Yeah, no, as you all were speaking, I was just thinking about how I really appreciate the learn and be curious culture that we have
Yeah.
at Amazon. Like, you're encouraged to learn things outside of your normal day to day. And I'd say for us, it's one of our leadership principles for those that don't know. But learn and be curious is definitely one of the things that really just invigorates me, and it's encouraging just to know that you are supported by your management, by your colleagues, to branch out of something that interests you. So that's one thing that I wanted to say. But in just to wrap up, it was definitely a pleasure having you both, Marcus and Darius. It was nice to learn a little bit more about Juneteenth and allies, advocacy. Ray, thank you so much for having us on. It's definitely been fun.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have a couple minutes left, and again, also thank you both, and sharing what you're learning and what you're trying to do, right? And as an interviewer, as bar raiser here at Amazon, whoever's listening, and if they ever plan on interviewing, when we talk about the learning, be curious aspect, this is something that's huge. It's so important, no matter what level you're interviewing at, no matter what job function. One of the things I tell people is it's one thing for you to go out of your comfort zone and learn something, right? That's awesome. You're developing yourself. But you know what's a really good, what actually elevates that? It's when you come in and bring your teachings to others and help elevate others. And that's the thing that a lot of people miss. So if you are that type of person that, loves to learn and then are passionate, then goes out and then tries to teach it to others and make them better for their customers, you're the type of person that we look for. So continue learning, continue growing, and that's something that's going to be, important, not just for your personal life, but for everyone around you. All right. So appreciate everyone. Great talk today, and thank you for educating me and others that may be new to learning again about Juneteenth and just even the Bend community. So excited, and hopefully I can attend one of those events myself. So have a great one. See y'all soon.
All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
again. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.